Um, so when I was a child, I did a little activity with my dad. And do you know what a terrarium is? Um, so a terrarium is like a mini ecosystem you build in like a glass, not a vial, but like a huge masonry jar of some sort. I think you can see it on YouTube as well. Um, but essentially, I had no idea why we were making it. I thought it was a fun activity to do with my dad and so on. Um, a few months went by, and sorry, the purpose of the terrarium is like you don't. Once it's sealed, it's an ecosystem that sort of goes through seasonal changes and has precipitation and rain and whatever you want to call it. Things live, grow, die, and you basically build your own ecosystem. And for me, it was just like a little mini garden. So, anyways, a few years went by and it was still around, and I wanted to get rid of it. My dad said, "Have you learned anything from this?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Crazy, man." I was like, "No." And I, you know, left it at that. Another few years went by and I was sort of in my late teens now. He asked me what I've done with the jar, and I said, "Oh, actually, I was about to throw it out. I've still got it, and I was supposed to throw it out 5 years ago." Um, and he asked me if I'd still learned anything from it. And I said, "No." And he said, "We made this, what, 7, 8 years ago? Probably longer than that, sorry, nearly 10 years ago by that point. And it's still alive." And he said, "It's because whatever's in that terrarium is giving back to Mother Nature. It's a life cycle that we follow. No matter what you do in life, if you don't give back to your universe, your world, you won't sustain. You might live an independent life and become rich or not. You might become poor and have nothing to eat or whatever it is and struggle. But you live your life and go on. But ultimately, we're not going to sustain because we've adopted this behavior of taking." And I stood there watching this guy ramble on, and I thought, what on earth is he on about? A couple of years went by. I still kept the job, by the way, or terrarium, and I was in my early teens, and I went through some struggles in life, and I realised ultimately what he was talking about makes massive sense. If we don't give back to Mother Nature, who provides air, rain, the basic things that we need in life, then we are basically depleting an energy source. And the law of, I don't know, is it physics, maths, or whatever you want to call it? I'm not a huge sort of clever intellect here, but eventually, if you keep consuming something and you don't have, going back on what we were talking about, cash flow or money, if you have more going out than you have coming in, you eventually end up in the negative. You've depleted its energy, or you've depleted its funds. So for me, it was, I needed to do something that was for the greater good, and I finally understood what he meant. Um, and from then, I basically chose a course in life that took me to planting a lot of trees, feeding people, um, having more green space that I physically wasn't able to do in my rat race. I think in total it's about 200. I mean, it's not in the thousands and thousands yet, but I think it's like 200 and sorry, not 200, 2,320 odd, about 2,320 odd trees I've planted to date. I would never have been able to do that 5 years ago, sitting in my office. So trees is basically the main topic here, but what I'm trying to say is I now live by I don't know, a purpose in life, which is to keep giving back whatever I capitalize on, and I give back in the ways of planting trees, feeding people if I possibly can. And I do it silently. Nobody needs to know. I don't need to go and set up a huge charity and scream and dance about it. And that's what I do right now. So yeah, it's. I think what I want to part with is the wise words that my dad said. It's keep giving back to Mother Nature, and you will see Mother Nature provide. And he didn't say it in English. He didn't speak English, but that's essentially what he said, and that's what I sort of live by right now. And he also said something as well. He said, because I remember part of this conversation that we had when we were talking about this glass vial when I was about 15, I think. Part of the conversation was, he asked me if I decided what I wanted to do, because I was a complete toe rag. I said I want to, change the world. There's too much war and whatever. And he laughed and he said to me, you're not going to do it. And he was quite realistic with me. He said, you're not in your, you don't have the means or the capacities to do it because you're talking about fighting a huge, massive worldwide problem here. What you can do is you can change the way somebody sees the world, and that way you would have changed the world for them. So, in essence, I think what he was trying to say is you would have done your bit by changing the world and keep doing that. And now it's sort of all made sense in terms of sort of giving back to Mother Nature. It's if I if I'm able to do what I want to do and sort of keep reinvesting in the environment, keep reinvesting in people, change the way people see the world, then that's what I'll do, and it keeps multiplying, then so be it. Yeah, man. The end.